We know contracts can be boring, but they can also save you a lot of trouble. This video will highlight what you can expect, but you should still read the contract before we get started. Be a good neighbor. When you get your project start date, give your neighbors a heads up that there will be a little noise and extra vehicles in the neighborhood while we're working. And talk to them about property boundaries. It's much easier to talk about your property line before we start digging. If your HOA requires any permits or approvals, make sure they're in place before we begin. Best Vinyl can help you with any drawings or documentation your HOA requires, but it's up to you to get the permission you need. Best Vinyl will contact OneCall to mark public utility lines like water, electricity, and gas. Although it rarely happens, if your fence layout interferes with utility lines, we'll talk with you about changing the fence design. If you choose to keep the same layout despite our recommendations, you will be liable to any damages caused. OneCall doesn't know where any private lines are located on your property, including water mains leading to your house. It's up to you to mark any private utilities that could be damaged during digging. Things like sprinkler lines and irrigation, TV or internet wiring, French drains, walkway lighting, and so on. We aren't responsible for damage to lines that weren't properly marked. You are also responsible for accurately marking your property boundaries. If you aren't sure where your property ends, hire a professional surveyor to mark the property before we arrive. Most projects require a building permit from your city and county. We'll take care of applying for these permits, but we can't start the project until we receive permits from the local government. When the state grants our permits, we will get in touch to schedule your project start date, first within a 2-week window, and then as the date approaches, a more specific appointment. By now we know a lot about your project, and our estimate is pretty accurate, but it is still an estimate. We only charge you for material we install, which means you may pay slightly less or slightly more than the amount on your paperwork today. During the project, our crews will need access to hose water and a standard 110-volt power outlet, and we'll need your help to keep pets, children, or neighbors away from the work area. We may move a few sprinkler heads if they interfere with post holes, and your lawn will look like it's seen more traffic than usual, but our installation crews clean up after themselves and your lawn will rebound quickly. Taking excess dirt away is not included in our cleanup. We can dump the dirt someplace in your yard if you'd like, but keep in mind it won't be quality topsoil. Digging post holes will bring up rocks, concrete, and sod mixed with dirt. 2 fence post holes can fill an entire wheelbarrow, so plan on a lot of dirt and debris. With the posts in place, we typically let the concrete set for a week before the finish crew will come out and finish the job. Your fence will be level, but you may realize that your yard is not, which means you could have gaps between the ground and the bottom rails. Sometimes they are large enough to require changes in your yard to keep pets in. This can be fixed by buying mow strips or topsoil. Please take time to review the final contract and ask your Best Vinyl representative any questions you have. Mahalo for trusting Best Vinyl with your project. We're excited to get started.